Welcome back, everybody. I'm here again this week with our good friend Keith Murphy from Essex Mortgage. Welcome, Keith.
Thank you for having me, Kelly. Good to see you again.
So today we're going to talk about what kind of insurance do you need when you buy a condo. And now all condos are located in homeowners associations. There's no getting around that. So take it away, Keith. What have we got for insurance?
Yeah, you betcha. So just like with your car, if you drive around without insurance, liability, comprehensive collision, and someone hits you that doesn't have insurance, like you're in trouble. So you wouldn't drive a nice car around without insurance. Well, a bank is not going to lend on a piece of property without the proper insurance. And so when we're talking specifically about condominiums, there's really two types of insurance. There's the in-walls coverage, which is called HO6, and then that just is from walls in, so interior of your unit down to the middle, and then there's the HO3, which is the exterior.
Okay.
So typically, you're going to have two types of insurance: the interior walls, the exterior, the HO6, the HO3. Sometimes a homeowners association's master insurance policy, which is the HO3, will include in walls. Very rare though. So typically a home buyer who's watching this video, you're going to have to talk to your insurance agent, your Farmers, your State Farm, your Geico, whoever you insure with, and get a quote on, hey, I'm buying this condo and I need to get this walls in coverage. So just to explain a little deeper, if there was a fire and the building burnt down, the homeowners association master policy would rebuild that building into living condition, but they're not gonna insure the contents inside from the walls in. So it's actually a California state law. When you own a condominium, whether you have a loan or not, you have to have in-walls coverage for that very reason, so that people aren't held liable if in the event of a catastrophe. And ideally, you're not going to need insurance for any reason as far as filing a claim for the interior or the exterior, but when things happen, like somebody's hot water tank in the unit above you breaks and there's a flood, or there is a fire or some sort of damage like that, your in-walls is going to come in handy. And then if it's like a leaky roof or termite damage on the exterior of the building, those type of things are going to be covered by the association's HO3.
Okay, so that interior coverage, when you're saying walls in, since the plumbing is inside the walls between the stucco part exterior and the walls of your unit, is that all part of what's covered by the homeowners association's insurance?
Well, that's a good question. I think we need to get an insurance professional involved here, because
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
My assumption, and that's all it is an assumption, is walls in, meaning the studs, not the plaster towards the carpet, but the plumbing would be the HVAC, because I'm thinking if it's an individually an individual AC or heating unit, duct or plumbing system, walls in coverage would cover that. If it's something like there's one big AC unit and the ductwork goes to all the units of the building, that's probably something that's going to be covered by the master policy from the condominium association. But honestly, I don't know if that is an accurate answer, Kelly.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I know I did have one client who had some interior damage to their unit, and it was the result of a leaking plumbing around the hose bib on the exterior. And in that particular instance, the homeowners association insurance did cover the repairs that needed to be made to the unit and to the interior of the unit. So probably because that was something that the homeowners association was in charge of or part of their responsibility. So good question. We'll maybe get our
We should do a follow-up
Keller on here.
Yeah, we should do a follow-up video with one of your insurance professionals.
One other quick question then, and this is really related to when you're closing escrow and you're purchasing that unit, you're required to have both of those policies in place. But maybe you can talk a little bit about what those policies have to say. as far as what is required to be on there in order for that loan to actually be funded.
Yeah,
The
great
borrower's
question.
name or the bank's name or whatever.
Yeah, so there's two separate answers. When it's the in-walls coverage and the buyer, the homeowner to be, is shopping around for that policy, it needs to have their names on the policy, the unit address, unit number, and then it needs to name, if they're going through Essex Mortgage as an example, the lender's lost payee, which basically just says in the event of damage, we're named as somebody who would be compensated for any damages incurred as a result of some sort of catastrophe or whatnot. And then on the master insurance policy, which is the exterior we don't need the buyers' names listed on there, but we as a lender need to be listed as one of the named insured because of the loan against that unit.
Right.
So sometimes, not too often, you will have a escrow company that produces a copy of the master policy, but they forget to add us as the lost payee. Now realize, Kelly, when escrow opens, one of the first things that we're doing is giving them a list of everything we need, and one of those things is master policy with Essex Mortgage named as a lost payee, and here's our lost payee clause, here's the loan number, and all that needs to be added to the master policy. And unfortunately, at times, escrow companies forget to do that last step. So we'll get a copy of the master policy as part of the funding conditions, but then we can't fund the loan because they didn't contact that insurance company and have that agent name us in the policy with our lost payee and loan number. So for anybody who's watching out there, that's one thing to keep an eye on during the escrow process, is that the escrow company's done their due diligence with the insurance company on the master.
And that is solely the responsibility of the escrow company to obtain that insurance from the master policy.
Yeah,
Escrow is actually obtaining all of those requirements that the lender has set forth in that list. Is that correct?
That is correct. I mean, I suppose it's possible that if the escrow company couldn't or wouldn't, that the seller, meaning the HOA, the homeowner association, could call the insurance company and get that information added. But it's definitely not the responsibility of the home buyer. It's not the responsibility of the home seller. It's not the responsibility of the agents or the lender. It's the escrow company or the homeowners association if the escrow wants to delegate it to them. But on their side of the fence, they need to get that done.
Okay.
Now, when it's in-walls coverage, that's different.
That's
the
the
home buyer's
selecting.
responsibility.
Okay.
And then we as lenders facilitate and help with the insurance agent, whoever they're, again, selecting, to make sure that they get our loan number and lost payee added in there, and that the coverage amount is accurate to the purchase price and loan amount for the subject property.
So that's all great information. I guess in summary, what we're looking at is two different policies when you buy a condo, one for walls in, one for walls out. Walls in is the responsibility of the buyer to shop for and select a provider, and then the lender's name as lost payee needs to be on that policy, and the lender will assist the buyer with getting that properly worded. And then the HOA's portion, which is walls out, is a condition that is requested by the lender from escrow, and escrow is responsible for obtaining that HOA master policy, again with the bank as named lost payee. Is that correct?
1000% correct. In both cases, the buyer should be very proactive in getting their quote from their agent for the HO6 or the in-walls, and the escrow should be proactive, meaning you order a request from the insurance for this binder with us being added as a lost payee, probably in the first couple days the escrow's opened, not the day you're trying to fund.
I want to thank you again, Keith, for giving us so much information about condo insurance today. And I know this has been super informative. If you have any considerations of purchasing a condo, it's not that much more involved than buying a single family home, but there are subtle nuances. So this is just one of them.